Hey everyone, what's up? Gamer Guy 7 Aces here, and I'm going to talk about Sonic Forces in this video. This is going to be my unscripted review. I was thinking about writing a script for it, and because I have a lot to talk about. Hopefully I make this whole video last less than 30 minutes, but you know what? I decided I'm not gonna waste time writing a script on this. It's just going to be unscripted and just going to be untidy, kind of like the game Sonic Forces. But anyway, let's get started. There were several things wrong with this game. At the same time, there were things that I liked about this game. Now, when you guys watched my long play of the video, my long play where I played the entire game, I gave the game like around a 6 to a 7 out of 10. Now, all the reviews have come in. IGN gave it like one of the highest scores, 6.9 out of 10. Majority of other companies gave it 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10. It was definitely within the 5 to 7 out of 10 range. And that's exactly where I feel with this game. This game has a lot of issues, a lot of lost potential. And yeah. So we're going to start right in the story. I want to cover everything. Like a lot of people have already posted reviews, even some call me Johnny. And surprisingly, he wasn't that thorough in his review because he honestly couldn't care less about the game. He said the game is an extremely mediocre game, which it is. But I want to talk about everything from top to bottom. But before I talk about the story, I just want to tell you, for those who are interested in getting all the collectibles 100% in the game, there are more than just red rings here. There are red rings, number rings, which is the green numbers from Sonic Lost World. There's also the moon medals, or the moon rings. Silver moon rings, which reminds me of Sonic Unleashed, but different. They're timed. You gotta get 5 of those too. And let me tell you guys, don't even bother yourselves getting all the rings, numbers, and moons, because they don't unlock anything. They don't unlock shit. The only thing they unlock is more avatar costumes. Now, if you're the type of person that wants to unlock every single costume and wear them, then by all means, get all the collectibles. But if you're thinking for something more substantial, like the video game simulator in Sonic Colors that unlock Chaos Emeralds, which unlocks Super Sonic, that's not there. If you're expecting for something like Generations where it unlocks concept art and music, it's not there. Matter of fact, there's no concept art at all in this game. If you're looking for something like Sonic Lost World, which just unlocks Super Sonic, it's not there. Super Sonic has actually been discovered in a lost file on the PC version for upcoming DLC, but you can't get, it was hacked into. You can't play Super Sonic at all in the console version. Hell, you don't even get an achievement for getting all the red rings, numbers, and moon rings. It's a waste of time. I've completely 100% in Sonic Forces, and I don't ever feel inclined to go back and play the damn game. Like, wow, like what a huge disappointment. This game makes you go for more collectibles than any of the previous games did. You know, and you get nothing but avatar costumes, which is lame because you unlock those anyway from playing the other levels. And I will get to the other things like the missions. It also unlocks missions too, but trust me guys, do not waste your time playing the missions. They are a poor man's missions from Generations. Like, they are a cheap imitation of the missions of Generations. Sonic Generations had 90 missions. Now, not all of them were awesome. There were some missions that were annoying, like the Vector musical notes. But a lot of the missions, especially the ones with Sonic Friends, were fun and exciting. None of the missions, absolutely none of them in Sonic Forces are good. They're all 2D, they're all bland, they're all boring. Wow, the missions are the worst part of the game. Don't even bother playing them. Don't even bother S-ranking them. But alright, let's talk about the story. Now, as you guys have heard for over a year now, I was more excited about the story in Sonic Forces than anything. And wow. Okay, when I first initially watched the story live when it was getting leaked, when, companies broke Street Date, I was hyped. I was hyped. It was the most hyped I've ever been for a Sonic game. That's true. It was the most hyped I've ever been for a Sonic game because we made all these speculations. We all made these theories, from my Phantom Ruby theory to Scourge's Infinite theory to Hank's, I don't know if that's how you pronounce his name. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, Hanky or Hank. Infinite Tails theory. Whether it was bizarre, it was epic, we all had great theories that would have made interesting stories and scenarios in Sonic Forces scenarios. And Sonic Forces didn't take advantage of any of those. The story was just so mundane. Like, oh my goodness, the story was after the hype settled down and my hype was gone, I realized how underwhelming, how disappointing the story in Sonic Forces was. Oh my god, I almost called it Sonic Colors. But okay, before I get into the story of the game, Let me just tell you, there was a prequel or 4-part prequel comic series written by Ian Flynn, you know, the writer of the Archie Sonic comics, that would build up to Sonic Forces. They're all canon. And let me tell you, if you want to get good story, just read the Sonic Forces comics. Don't waste your time with the video game cutscenes because they are completely disappointing. Now there were 4 issues of the Sonic Forces comics. There was the first one was about the Avatar, told in his point of view, how he's, you know, interacting with Sonic's friends and fighting joining the Resistance. He's basically a rookie, so that represents your Avatar. The second one, which is my favorite, is Silver and Knuckles. It completely explains why Knuckles is the leader of the Resistance, and it explains why Silver is back in the picture. I love it because that comic paid the most homage to was more similar to my theory, Phantom Ruby theory. The only thing it didn't mention was Nocturnus, which, let's be honest, if it wasn't for the Ken Panders debacle, Nocturnus would totally be mentioned in the Phantom Ruby. And then the third issue was Shadow, Omega, and Rouge, the Team Dark story, which was also touched on in Episode Shadow. However, the comics handles it way better than Episode Shadow does. And then you also get the last issue is the Jackal Squad issue. It basically explains the origins of Infinite, which Episode Shadow also explored, but the comics did such a much better job explaining the Jackal before he became Infinite. So yeah, it's sad. Episode Shadow covered 2 out of 4 of these comics, but my favorite one is the number 2 with Shadow and Knuckles. Silver and Knuckles. I really enjoyed that. Now, it's crazy. I'm not going to explain the story of the comics. You guys should read it. You can find it online on Google or Sonic's Twitter. But the game is just so underwhelming. Like, the plot goes, I'm not going to say much because you guys already know what it is. We don't, like, even Scourge. I was talking to Sega Scourge on Skype. He was super disappointed and upset at the story. The story isn't, like, bad. It isn't like Sonic 06 bad or anything like fanfiction like that. But it's just underwhelming. It could have been so much better. Now, before I talk about the characters, let's talk about the villains. The villains were handled so poorly in this game. They were handled as badly as the Deadly Six were. Like, you know, the villain team comprised of Metal Sonic, Shadow, Chaos, and Zavok. By the way, Zavok's name is pronounced Zavok. Zavok instead of Zavok. Whatever. I'm calling him Zavok. The only bosses you play against is Zavok and Metal Sonic. You don't play against Shadow. You don't even play Chaos. The character that was the most mishandled was Chaos. Chaos was pure adventure bait. Like, you only see him in 2 cutscenes. One when they're jumping Sonic. 2 when he's about to attack Tails. And I'm going to talk about Tails soon. Tails was a pussy in this game. He was a little bitch. And classic Sonic comes out of the portal from Mania, bops Chaos on the head. Bam. Chaos is done. We never see Chaos again until the final battle. Like, wow. Like, at least make a boss where Tails fights Chaos or classic Sonic fights Chaos. I don't know. But this was the most underwhelming. The villains were completely mishandled. They were hyped for no reason. And Shadow. Sonic didn't even fight Shadow. Before he even fought Illusion Shadow, the real Shadow came, roundhouse kicked him, and said, oh, it's a fake. And that's it. It's like, wow, are you kidding me? He just, I don't know. Now, let's talk about the characters. Let's first start with Sonic. Now, first I want to talk about all the characters. Now, there's one good thing about the story. The characters, the voice actors really improved their game. I really liked the voice acting in this game. It was really good. Sure, there were some cringy lines here and there. They did what they could with the script. The problem with the story was not the voice actors. It was the script. The voice acting was great this time. They all did good, especially Knuckles. The characters that stood out the most was Knuckles and Silver. This is the best representation of Silver the Hedgehog in a Sonic game thus far. And Knuckles, finally, he's shown some respect since, the adventure games? So yeah, I really like them. Now let's talk about Sonic. Sonic was good. This is Roger Craig Smith's best voice acting work as Sonic in the video game, not Sonic Boom cartoon, in the video game. However, I did not like his direction. And blame it on the director and the script. Now, Knuckles and Rouge describe how Sonic was tortured for 6 months while he was captured, while he was a prisoner in the Death Egg. And then we see Sonic, and he's there cracking jokes with Zavok like nothing happened. It's like, now I was arguing that with Carlos, Husky Z, and Husky Z was like, this is Sonic's character like the adventure games. It's like, true. But why would you go out of your way to mention that he's been tortured, and Sonic, he has no signs of PTSD? I'm not expecting Sonic to be completely rugged, completely depressed. No, but he wasn't serious at all. Unleashed Sonic is the best representation of Sonic thus far in the modern games. I wanted that kind of Sonic, the no-nonsense guy who had humor, but he wasn't cracking jokes every second. This Sonic was the same Sonic as Lost World and Colors, just without telling cringy, corny jokes like BBBE or Baldy McNose. He didn't say that at all. You know, but it was just, his direction was weird. And it's definitely a legit criticism of this game, because every other character was taking the plot seriously, especially including Tails. Tails took things seriously too, but Sonic was the only one who wasn't taking things seriously, despite Dr. Eggman winning and taking over 99% of the world. Sonic was acting like, oh, it doesn't matter, we'll win like we always do. It's like, dude, are you serious right now? You've been in jail for 6 months, and you still think like you're... That was completely out of character. But anyway, I talked about Knuckles. As great as Knuckles was, he did have a cringy line here. He was like, none of this is good, Vector. That's why it's called war. Like, I don't know, I giggled when I heard that part. And a lot of other LPers and YouTubers, when anytime Knuckles got to that part, they all laughed. It was weird. It was the writing. Silver was good. He didn't really... Of course, Silver also had kind of a cheesy line. He's like, I'm an optimist, but I'm also a realist. And it's like, I mean, it was good. It was a bit too on the nose, but both of those characters I really liked. Now let's get to Tails. Tails was a complete, utter disappointment. I don't know what was wrong with Tails in this game, but Tails was the worst character in this game. He was completely incompetent. He was the worst. Like, I at least thought Tails was going to be the one to like manufacture the Wispons. You know, since he has the most knowledge of the Wisps besides Sonic. But he didn't do any of that. He was completely incompetent. He wasn't smart. He spent months trying to fix Omega and couldn't get him to work. Like, it was just wow. Tails did nothing. He was only the most useful after classic Sonic hacked into or broke into Chemical Plant and stole the Phantom Ruby archives. And then Tails was able to formulate a plan. How that was the only good thing Tails did. Tails was just completely bad, out of character, and he was weirdly obsessed and clinky to classic Sonic. Like, that was the most annoying part. It's like, dude, Tails, why are you so clinky to classic Sonic? You weren't like this in Generations. And it's proven in the game that is the same classic Sonic from Generations. I'm not going to get into the whole timeline thing. If you guys don't know, watch my other videos. But this is the same Sonic from Generations, but he has a different timeline now, since he's already experienced everything modern Sonic has experienced. So he's basically in a different timeline, which is in a different dimension. As modern Sonic explains, like, wow, it's been generations since I've seen you. By the way, I like that line. I don't care what people say, I like that line. But Tails was just clingy. It's like, you know what? The whole Tails is gay theories is just becoming more and more valid, because Tails was just not himself. He was just screaming, Sonic, help me, despite Sonic being allegedly dead. He couldn't even fight Chaos Zero. Sonic Adventure 1, he was fighting Chaos 4, and this one he couldn't even fight Chaos Zero. He was cowering behind Omega. I hated Tails in this game. I really do hope Sega respects his character more. He didn't do shit. He was just watching Sonic getting whooped by all the villains, and just, I don't know, I did not like Tails in this game at all. The Avatar was way more competent than Tails, and the Avatar was a rookie. But yeah. And, you know, we got Team Dark. Rouge was pretty good. It took a while to get used to her voice again, because it's the same voice actress from Generations and Free Riders. It's just we barely hear her, so I thought it was someone new. But they were all good. Charmy, Team Chaotix was good. Vector, though. Vector had a lot of screen time in this game. I kind of liked Vector. Every character had character development in this game, even regrettably Tails, except Sonic. But Vector, he started out not really liking the rookie at all, just thinking the rookie was just some newbie who wasn't good enough. And then as you get better in the game, like Vector's like, wow, how can I top that? Like, wow, you're gonna make me look bad. I don't know, like, Vector is kind of a jerk to the Avatar, but I like this character. Like, this is the most character Vector's gotten since, like, Sonic Heroes. I don't know, but I felt like Vector had the most lines in this game too, besides Knuckles. Like, they really liked Vector, which was cool, because, you know, Vector's also in Sonic Boom too. So Vector's pretty cool. I like his design. I kind of like his design more in Sonic Boom, but you know, he's not rocking that gold chain. Oh no, he's rocking gold chain. He's not rocking the headphones. But yeah, so that's Vector, and, you know, SBO was pretty much SBO. And then Amy has been the same since she's been changed in Sonic Boom. I liked it. I like how I forgot who the voice actor is. Has changed her voice in Sonic Boom. She doesn't sound like Minnie Mouse anymore. She's basically sound the same she did in Lego Sonic Dimensions. I mean, she still loves Sonic, is head over heels over Sonic, but she's not upset. She's not all tsundere, you know, for Sonic. And yeah, she's still independent, can still get things done, is headstrong, and I like it. She's a vital key in the Resistance. So that's all the characters. There's no Blaze in this game, which is very regrettable. Sega does not like Blaze. And Cream the Rabbit is mysteriously... But Blaze is from a different dimension. But so you can at least make that excuse. But Cream is not in this game at all. And I don't know if she was killed, but I know she's too young to be in this. She's only like 3 years old, I think. But yeah, it wouldn't fit if she was in this game. And, you know, her voice is kind of annoying. She's like, "Thank you, Mr. Sonic." So I'm kind of glad she's not in the game. But those are all the characters. Oh yeah, Shadow. Kirk Thornton, he did a good job voicing Shadow. I think this is his best work as Shadow ever. It felt very closely, very similar to the old Shadow, you know, from adventure games or even Jason Griffith's Shadow. It wasn't all, he wasn't all, "I'm gonna do this my way, Sonic." He didn't have that gruffy voice like he does in Sonic Boom. But this one, I think, like, it's weird because I saw the season finale of Sonic Boom Season 2, and he still had that whole, like, "my Shadow" voice. But in this game, Sonic Forces, his voice sounded very similar to the adventure game. So I guess that was what Sonic Team wanted him to sound like, and I liked it. You know, so that's all the characters that have a standout. One issue, though, was the sound mixing. It was very minor, but there were at times, especially Infinite, when Infinite talks, and his voice is like, "I'm Infinite. I'm going to defeat you, Sonic." And the music is just overpowering him. So you can't really hear Infinite a lot. So it's like, wow. Like, that Sega's never really had that kind of problem since Sonic Adventure 1 and 2. So it was like, what's going on, Sega? Like, their sound mixing, sound editing was kind of bad at some points. You couldn't really hear them talking sometimes, especially Shadow and Infinite. Shadow and Infinite were more guilty of this because, you know, they had that low voice. So the music was kind of overpowering them at parts. So I don't know what was going on with that, but yeah. But that's basically all the story, or all the character breakdown. So overall, the characters themselves did a good job. Even Sonic, even though I did not like his direction, the main problem was just the direction of the characters. Oh, and Mike Pollock did great as usual as Dr. Eggman. You know, I can't believe Twip was tweeting on Twitter that he thinks Mike Pollock should be replaced because Mike Pollock is not menacing. I'm like, hello? Sonic 06? Mike Pollock has been in Sonic games since Sonic 06. I don't know if he was in Shadow the Hedgehog. But he is the best Eggman we've ever gotten on the games. He can sound menacing. He was pretty menacing here. He was even menacing in Lost World. But, yeah. Anyone who says differently can go screw themselves, you know. Mike Pollock is always going to be the best voice actor. Infinite was good, too. I think it was voiced by Liam O'Brien. But, yeah, Infinite was good. But, yeah. Now, I already talked about the story, but the most disappointing part of the story was episode Shadow. Now, Infinite's origins was this topic we all debated. Some thought he was Tails. You know, Scourge came up with this whole theory that Infinite is related to your avatar. He's your avatar's friend. And you're fighting for Infinite. None of that played any factor in episode Shadow. Like, Scourge had to put outdated in his Sonic theory because, wow, this one was so bad. Basically, to make long story short, because there isn't much of a story here, Infinite was part of the Jackal Squad, and, you know, Eggman hired he was a mercenary, hired mercenary by Dr. Eggman, and, you know, when he had to fight Shadow, of course, kicked his ass and humiliated him and told Infinite, "Don't ever show your pathetic face to me again." And Infinite got all butthurt, like, I'm not weak. Again, another cringy line that's going to be turned into a meme. And then he took it to heart. He turned into Infinite, hit his face with a mask because he felt he wanted to hide his weakness. And then he volunteered to be experimented on by Dr. Eggman to harness the Phantom Ruby so he won't be weak and he could dominate world with Dr. Eggman. The plot is so incredibly lame. It's like, wow. Like, I don't even know what to say. It's like, wow. So Shadow was the one that caused Infinite, all because he made Infinite salty. Infinite got butthurt and wanted revenge. It's like, wow. And first of all, how many times is Shadow going to turn people into villains? He did that with Metropolis. I mean, Metropolis was already evil, but he's the one who made Metropolis get vengeance and assume the form of Shadow. And now he did it with Infinite. So it's just, I don't know. It's crazy. It was just, I don't know how to explain it. Now, in the comics, it's still the same. The Jackal, he doesn't have any name, but he's the leader of the Jackal Squad. But in this one, in the comics, Eggman captures him, I think, or whatever, and then Eggman asks him if they can work together. I forgot what happened, but they volunteered to work together, right? Because they both have things in common. Jackal Squad, I forgot, man, I gotta look in the comics, but they both agree mutually to work together, and the leader wants to harness the Phantom Ruby. I like you guys should read issue number 4 of the Sonic Forces comic. I like it a lot. Now, the ending of the game was just bad for Infinite, because Infinite gets defeated, then he disappears, and you never see him again. He's like, wait, I can still fight. Now, a lot of people are confused about this, but I already know what's going on. Basically, there's always been a tradition of Dr. Eggman always being betrayed by the villain at the end, and we all thought Infinite was going to betray Dr. Eggman, but in this game it's the other way around. Dr. Eggman is actually the one who uses Infinite and betrays Infinite. But the game does not get that. The game does not clarify on that. When Infinite is like, wait, I can still fight, he's saying that to Eggman because Eggman is basically disappointed, so disappointed in Infinite after he gets defeated by Sonic and Avatar. He basically just takes the power of the Phantom Ruby for himself and absorbs it with the Death Egg. So Infinite basically disintegrates. I don't know if Infinite is dead or if he just disappears, but basically Eggman betrays Infinite at that very end point because he just sees Infinite as useless. He's like, wow, you got defeated by Sonic? I'm going to show Sonic who's boss. And it's proven because in the end, when he speaks to Sonic, he's like, wow, you never cease to surprise me, Sonic. I didn't ever believe that Infinite could lose. So, and this is the first game where Dr. Eggman betrays the villain instead of the villain betraying Eggman. But the video game does not get that point across at all, so you're confused, wondering what the hell just happened. Infinite, as powerful he was nothing but a tool. He was just a tool for Dr. Eggman to use, and it makes even more, sense that he's an anthropomorph. So the game does not get that point across at all. That could have been a great storyteller. I actually like that part of the story more. That Infinite, is a very vulnerable character, and he's living his own illusion because he was a weak-ass mercenary, defeated by Shadow, and he wants to get revenge by, volunteering to willingly get experimented on by Dr. Eggman to become more powerful and rule the world with Dr. Eggman. But Dr. Eggman has been using him the whole time to fulfill his own agenda. And the moment Infinite would become useless, Dr. Eggman would just dispose of him, as he already made plans to absorb the power of the the Phantom Ruby himself. I love that. Like, that could have been better explained in the game story, and it would have made so much more sense showing Dr. Eggman as a much more malevolent, menacing villain, as someone who doesn't get taken advantage of by villains. But whatever, I've almost talked about the story for nearly 30 minutes now, so that's about it. The story just completely underwhelming and disappointing. But yeah, let's talk about the gameplay now. Now, this game, I've noticed, as critical as a lot of Sonic fans have been, and the critics, Sonic Forces is definitely a game for casuals, because the people I've seen that have enjoyed the game the most have been casuals, because the whole avatar gimmick, I can tell how that can appease the casual gameplays. The casual gamers. Like, you can even see Game Grumps. Aaron enjoys playing Sonic Forces. Now, I don't know how much he really enjoys it, or if he enjoys it like a meme, but I remember he had fun playing Sonic Dreams Collection. And, Sonic Dreams Collection is kind of similar to Sonic Forces, as you create your avatar, just not as janky or, inappropriate. Sega even had Andre Blacknerd promote and advertise their game, Sonic Forces. So, Sonic Forces definitely, I think it might sell well in the West. It didn't sell well at all in Japan. It was a huge flop. I don't know why people are surprised. Sonic was never big in Japan. The whole creation of Sonic was to compete in the Western market, to appeal to Westerners, and to compete against Mario. But yeah, I hope it does sell well, because I don't want it to flop, because this is definitely going to affect the future for modern Sonic games. But the only two people I know who have loved this game is casuals and just people who are really big fans of OCs, and they're just in love with Sonic Forces, or they love, the story. But you can't defend this game because of the story. I just spent over 20 minutes picking apart the story. If you want to get a great experience with the story, read the damn comics. Read the Sonic Forces comics. You're not going to get that with the game story. It's so underwhelming. But now let's talk about the gameplay. Now, let's talk about the worst one, Classic Sonic. Classic Sonic is easily the worst part of this game. It's sad. I've made the joke constantly on Twitter, from GOAT to garbage. GOAT means greatest of all time. You know, he was the GOAT in Sonic Mania, and less than 3 months later, he became garbage in Sonic Forces. Only Sega is capable of doing that. So that's why I've been saying the tagline from GOAT to garbage. It's sad. Yeah, Classic is the worst in this game. Like, all his levels are just bland. They're nothing compared to Generations, and that's the sad part. It makes you even wonder, why was Classic Sonic in this game anyway? Like, his levels aren't even better than Sonic Generations. I did not come to this game expecting the gameplay to be as great as Mania. I was expecting it to be as great as Generations, and it didn't even compete. Wasn't even as good as Generations. I mean, so Sega already set themselves up for failure. Sonic Team already shot themselves in the foot by putting Classic Sonic in this game after Mania. It's like, what? And he wasn't even relevant to the story. It was just the whole Phantom Ruby saga. I mean, the whole Phantom Ruby storyline in Mania was just a meaningless tool to, you know, implement Classic Sonic in Forces. He was useless. I'm even confused now. I don't understand how the Phantom Ruby ended up in Mania. The hard-boiled heavies, I really don't understand how they got it. And it led Sonic. It doesn't make sense, and I'm not even going to bother making a theory of this, because Sega basically half-assed the story. They didn't give it second thought, so I'm not going to give it second thought either. You know, and yeah, he was the third wheel. Exactly what I've been complaining about and have been speculating for over a year is exactly what came true. He has the shortest levels in the game. He only has 6 levels. Both Modern Sonic and Avatar have 7 levels, plus the tag team, so they have up to like 10 or more levels. Classic Sonic only has 6. He has no missions. He has no tag team. That all goes to Modern Sonic and Avatar, which only solidifies the fact that Classic Sonic was just an afterthought, literally. He's only in 6 levels of this game. He is the cat of this game. You can't play him in any other aspect except those 6 levels. And all of them suck. Now, there is one level, okay, there are 2 levels that I kind of like. Ghost Town, which is the first level, it's an alright level. It reminded me a little bit of Generations, just a poor imitation. Chemical Plant is actually, the level design was actually interesting. I liked it. There were a lot of different hidden pathways, high paths. You know, the ending goal, there's actually a different way to end there from the top. But because of the horrible, janky physics of Classic Sonic, it is hard to get to top paths at all. And that's another problem this game has, which is a huge surprise to me, the controls. Never would I ever think that the controls would be a problem in Sonic Forces. I was complaining about level design all these months, but the controls are something else. So Classic Sonic's controls are horrible. Like, he controls like a tank. His controls are very inconsistent. Sometimes when you roll into a ball, he moves fast like he does in the classics. Sometimes when you don't, he moves slow. When you're running off an incline, off a slope, he cannot run off the slope. So it's just, his gameplay is awful. And there's no warning signs for bottomless pits. Now, a lot of people were annoyed about that in after Sonic Generations. It was a little bit excessive in Sonic 4 Episode 2. But it was really needed in this game, because there are many times you just can't tell if it's a bottomless pit or not. And the Sonic Team even knew that, because there's some parts where you're about to fall in the bottomless pit, and there's a springer that saves you from dying. That'll tell you how cheap the level design is. They knew that you were going to fall, so they had to put springers to help you. So it's sad. All the levels in Classic Sonics are mediocre. I did enjoy Chemical Plant though, almost as much as Generations Chemical Plant for Classic Sonic, but it's not fully realized because Classic Sonic's controls are so bad. Now, I'm done talking about his. The boss, he only has one boss with, you know, the versus Eggman, which is lame. You can, like the bullets, when Dr. Eggman is shooting you, you don't even have to move. Just stay there and you won't even get shot. Sad. And obviously the final boss when he fights, you know, with Avatar and Modern Sonic. Then you have Modern Sonic. Now, Modern Sonic has 7 levels, and you know, the Green Hill Lost Valley level that I completely ripped apart in my video. Now, that's just horrible and near. There are some levels of Modern Sonic that are good. Like Death Egg or Egg Gate was pretty good. I like that level. It kind of reminded me of Starlight mixed up with Final Rush from Sonic Adventure 2. But it was short. That's the problem with all these levels in Sonic Forces. They are too goddamn short. Only a minute to a minute and a half, sometimes 2 minutes. Or when levels start getting good, that's when they end. And then the third level of Modern Sonic is Luminous Forest. That whole forest jungle level, and it's just it's way too linear for my taste. Then we have Sunset Heights, that level. I've already explained that level. It's the iconic level. And then you have Chemical Plant. Chemical Plant, or Network Terminal is alright, but the level design is just a problem here. Like, the 3D areas for Modern Sonic in Avatar 2 are just corridors. Clear corridors where just run through. To actually do the platforming is 2D. It's so lame. I don't get it. I really don't get it. The Metropolitan Highway, as beautiful as that looks, is the worst level for Modern Sonic in the game. For the sole purpose of that you fall off to your death a lot. Now, okay, Sonic Forces is a very automated game, right? Because there's no drift. You can't drift, so Sonic just automatically turns tight corners or you're centered. Except for Metropolitan Highway. And there's no rails in that game in some area. There's no rails in that level in some parts. So if you're boosting, you'll just boost right off the stage and die. And you can't drift. I don't understand why Sega did that or made that design choice. It makes no sense to me. I don't know why they took off the drift. There's a lot of moves that Modern Sonic is missing. He's missing the Light Dash, which I don't mind because that's given to the Avatar for the Lightning Wisp. He's missing the Wall Jump, which also is given to Avatar for one level. That's a lame-ass level. He's missing those two. He's missing a drift. He's missing so much things. He just has his boost and stomp. Like, it's sad. And the double jump, which doesn't even work well. Sonic's double jump was better in Lost World. He can't even air dash. So it's bad. And automated. So it's like, because there's not much control with Modern Sonic when it's boosting, you actually are hoping, praying for automation. Now, the best Modern Sonic level in this game is Mortar Canyon. I explained that a lot in my Twitter. It's not only 100% 3D, it's a 100% 3D level, but the level design is so good. It fully realizes 3D spaces and platforming, and it almost reminds me of Sonic Generations. Too bad that's the only level of that caliber in the game. It's easily my #1 favorite level in the entire game besides No Space. And I know some people are like, oh, all you do is homing attack and boost, but you don't have to. The level's pretty good, but once again, it's too short. So I don't understand. And yeah, so that's all I have to say about that. Now let's move on to the Avatar. Now Avatar is the most interesting part of the game because the Wispons and everything. There are 7 Wispons here. There's the the default one is the flamethrower burst Wispon. There's the lightning. There's a cube. There's a drill. There's the there's another one. There's the asteroid, which is kind of weird. There's also the hover and the void. Now my 2 favorite have to be hover and void, because the void one is one of the last Wispons you unlock, but when you shoot enemies, they're all just absorbed in this black hole. It's cool. And when you get the capsule wisp, you can basically teleport to another area. Now it kind of reminds me of the laser. I kind of wish laser was a Wispon, but whatever. But that's what the void is. Sometimes it's unreliable and you fall to your death when you teleport, but it's still cool. And the hover is broken. Like, all these Wispons are broken, but the hover especially, the hover, when you just press the trigger, it blows all your enemies. It sends a shockwave that blows all your enemies to oblivion and kills them. And obviously when you get a capsule, you can also hover, hover infinitely until you run out. So I like that. Spaceport, as you know, the chemical plant level, it's not my favorite level, especially the 2.5D section, which is the only area in the entire game that's 2.5D. Again, lazy ass level design from Sonic Team. Like, why couldn't that whole area just be 3D? I don't understand. That's the only 2.5D section in the entire game. When I first saw that demo, I thought there's going to be a lot of 2.5D sections like that where you can move 3D in a 2D space, like Super Mario 3D World, but that's not the case. So that could have just easily been 3D. I don't get it. Anyway, then the next one is Prison Break or Prison Hall. I forgot what it is. But Aqua Road is a good Avatar level, but it only lasts for a minute. The music for these levels not even finished yet before you're done with the level. It's just a water slide in. You know, there's no full 3D water level in this game. I kind of wish there was, but whatever, it's whatever. And what else? And the worst Avatar stage is Imperial Tower. That's just awful because the Avatar does not play well in 2D. It's better in 3D. I remember when I made my video about what I wanted the Avatar to play like, I wanted it to be completely 3D, open world, and exploration based. At least just to be 3D, because the Avatar cannot platform to save its life. Its jump is so weird, and it builds up momentum so fast. But if you jump stationary, you will fall down like an anchor. You have to be moving to jump, which is weird. I don't understand that. So just the Avatar cannot platform at all. None of the characters are good at platforming, which is weird because Sonic games should be all about platforming. But the Avatar is the worst when it comes to platforming. And yeah, that's why I hated Guardian Rock, because he kept on falling to his death. And yeah, so that is the best Avatar level, I think. And then there's the tag team. There's roughly 5 tag team stages, but 2 of them are bosses. So there's really only 3 tag team. You know, the Arsenal Pyramid, the Green Hill one that we've seen a lot. Then there's the Null Space one, and then the third one is that Final Judgment, which literally it's over before you know it. The best tag team stage in this game, and the second best level in the game, is Null Space. Now, Null Space is the reason why it's not number 1 for me, because it's just a lot of rail grinding. But it's a fully realized 3D level, and I'm not saying they're great just because they're 3D. But there's actually some good level design, multiple paths. I replayed. Those were the 2 levels I replayed constantly for exploration replayability purposes. You know, Null Space and Mortar Canyon. I don't know why Sega half-assed this game and only showed, you know, real effort in those 2 levels. Now, as I'm told and I've seen, if we look at the credits, there's only 3 level designers for this entire game. 2 of them are completely new. They've never worked in a Sonic game before. And one of them is the director for Sonic Lost World, which just makes me scratch my head, because it's like, wait, the debut trailer Sonic Forces says from the team that brought you Sonic Colors and Sonic Generations, yet none of them worked from either the game. The directors from Lost World. So like, why did you lie to us, Sega? Why? I don't understand that. They lied to us because they knew if they put Sonic Lost World, nobody was going to be interested in buying the game. People would have just moaned and groaned. But they knew by putting Colors and Generations, since those games were very successful, people would buy this. I don't understand what Sega's doing. I mean, they can't. I don't know what happened. There were like 8 people who worked on Colors and 8 people that worked on Generations level design, and none of them are working in Sonic Forces. The director from Lost World, he was in the previous games, but it's just one man. So I don't understand why they cut the team who made the level design. It completely explains why the levels are so linear, so basic, and so short. It just, I don't know. It's very underwhelming. So that's all I have to say. The controls are bad for the game. They're not like 06 awful, but they need to be patched. When I downloaded the patch for this game, I thought it would fix the controls. I'm pretty sure that Sega can fix the controls for this game. That's not going to be a problem. If Big Red Button could offer a 1 GB patch that fixed most of the issues and took away the Knuckles jump glitch from Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric, I'm sure Sega can make another patch, a 1.2 patch, that will fix classic Sonic's physics in the game. Can also fix modern Sonic's physics and give him I don't know, just give him something. Or at least make the level automated so he doesn't fall off. And Avatar, fix his jump. I'm sure Sega can do that. So that's what I have to say about the gameplay for each level. Oh yeah, there's also Episode Shadow. You can, Episode Shadow was alright. You know, the levels were nothing special. And, yeah. Now the music. Now, as bad as Sonic games can be, like Sonic 06 or, you know, the music is usually always something people praise or like. With the exception of Shadow the Hedgehog, which I really didn't like the music there. But Sonic Forces is the first game where I don't really care for the music, because the soundtrack I just don't like. The music is great, but they have poor choices of instruments and execution. Let's start with modern Sonic. All of his tracks are synthesizers, uses this annoying synth. I don't understand. Just listen to Lost Valley, the first level in the game. It sounds like a mobile game. Sounds like the type of music you put in Sonic Runners or Sonic Dash. A lot of people are like, yeah, I don't know why. I really feel like Sega cut the team in half, or they really understaffed a lot of people who worked in Sonic Forces. Like they were working on a limited budget or something. Now Sonic Forces does have catchy vocal tracks, and I really love Fist Bump is now my second favorite, and the Infinite theme. But besides that, everything is just half-assed. Now there is the London Symphony, but there's always been symphonic music in Sonic games since Sonic Unleashed. But yeah, so I didn't like the synth. Now there is one track I like, a Network Terminal, Chemical Plant, for modern Sonic. When he's inside the chemical plant, I like that music. It sounds very Latino influence. But it's just the synth. If the synth was changed to other instruments, I would have loved modern Sonic soundtrack, but it was just bad with the synths. And then you have classic Sonic with the MIDI music. I don't understand. Now, Tomoya Otani was the one who worked on the game's music in the classic Sonic. He's the first one. This is the first time he's made music for classic Sonic. You know, Jun Senoue made music for Sonic 4 and Generations and all that. You can tell his mark on Sonic 4. The music for Forces for classic Sonic isn't nearly as bad as the music for Sonic 4, but Otani actually said that he used legit Sega Genesis sounds for classic Sonic soundtrack. It's legit Genesis sounds. Although it may not sound like it, I do believe him, but I just feel it's a step back. Like, why would you use chip tunes and the old loud drum for classic Sonic when T-Lopes did Mania? And the music for Mania was godly. They should have at least hired T-Lopes to make some tracks for classic Sonic. I don't understand. His music was so bad, especially Green Hill. I don't like any of classic Sonic's track music except Ghost Town. Ghost Town was pretty good. And guess why? Because the drum beats was actually used from drum beats from Sonic 3 Knuckles. But when it goes to that whole Sonic 1, 2 hard drum beats, it becomes mediocre again. Now there is one type of music I do like from Sonic Forces. It's the J-pop music from the Avatar. The Avatar has Japanese or J-pop, and I really like it. It has lyrics. Every character has their own type of music genre, like kind of like Sonic Adventure 2, how Sonic and Shadow had the rock music, Knuckles had the rap, Rouge had the jazz, same thing, Modern Sonic has the synth music, classic Sonic has the Genesis music, chiptunes, and the Avatar has the J-pop. So I really like the J-pop music, especially Spaceport. I like the Spaceport music the most. Aqua was good too, but you can barely hear it. You can barely finish listening to the whole thing. But yeah, but that's it. The music is very mediocre for this game too. Even when it's catchy, just the instruments used, or synthesizers, it didn't do the music any justice for the game. So those are my thoughts about the music. And obviously Shadow's music were just remixes of his music from Sonic Adventure 2. It doesn't matter. So yeah, I mean, that's about it. I pretty much talked enough about this game. There's no replay value when you figured out that all the collectibles do is just unlock missions and close. That's it. Now, what is the legacy of Sonic Forces? I don't know. If you guys watched Some Call Me Johnny's video, he did talk about how he thinks a new team of fans need to come and intervene and make a Sonic Adventure style game. As much as I love the boost, it was not implemented well in this game. There's only 2 games that did the boost justice, and it was Sonic Unleashed for the spectacle and Sonic Generations for the controls and the tightness. And we have never gotten a game of that caliber since. I don't want to see Sega or Sonic Team continue stumbling like a stumbling block trying to figure out how to make Sonic great again like Sonic Generations level design, but I think they should just go back to the adventure, see what works. They should give modern Sonic the same treat. They should give 3D Sonic the same treatment they gave 2D Sonic. Finding out what made modern Sonic great in the first place, or 3D Sonic, because I'm done with this. I'm done with these mediocre titles. We're in the year 2017. Sonic shouldn't be like this anymore, Yeah, so that's the legacy, I think, of Sonic Forces. Now, in an interview, I think Izuka or Nakamura, I forgot, they did say that they have no plans of future Sonic games right now. They just want to observe how Mania and Forces performs first. Then they're going to move forward based on how things were received this year. And I can tell you we are definitely getting a sequel of Sonic Mania, but the future for 3D Sonic is not looking bright. Sega did offer a survey for those who play Forces and to give feedback, and I definitely did that survey. If you guys have another survey, you can follow it on Twitter or whatever. Let your voices be heard. Let Sega know that we're not going to be accepting games from like this from them anymore. Half-assed games that, you know, they said this game was made for 4 years. Bullshit. Word is going on that they spent more time on the engine, which makes sense. They completely built a new engine from the ground up. That would take years, especially to syndicate it on new systems like Nintendo Switch. But they only worked on Sonic Forces itself for like 1 year. There's no way you can work 4 years on a game and the levels are so short and bland and almost like Temple Run-esque. That's because they didn't have enough time to make this game. I don't understand. Sega hasn't learned anything. They think just by postponing a game means that, oh, they're working hard. They're working hard on a game. Let's give them another chance. It's like a procrastinator who's not utilizing his time the right way. Sega didn't use that time to perfect Sonic's gameplay. They just used it to perfect the Hedgehog engine, which is good, I guess, but at the end of the day, like I said in my Twitter, I don't care how beautiful your game is. I don't care how great the story is, how great the story voice actors are. I don't care how nice you are. A game is nothing if the level design is shit. You can always send a patch to fix controls, but you cannot patch up level design. Once it's done, it's done. And that's how I feel about Sonic Forces. I don't know if in the future people will say it's an underrated masterpiece like Sonic Unleashed. The only time will tell. I don't want to wait another 3 to 4 years for another 3D Sonic game. The next time a 3D Sonic game comes out, I'm going to be 30 years old. And I probably won't care about Sonic anymore if Sonic continues failing. I do think the next 3D Sonic game needs to come out in 2019 when the movie comes out. Whether it's going to be a movie tie like Ratchet and Clank, I don't care. I just want a good Sonic game because Sega cannot afford to wait this long again. You know, they just can't. So, yeah. But that's all I have to say about Sonic Forces. I'm sure there's more to say, but this is clocking into nearly an hour, so that's it. But the game is, I give it a 6.5 out of 10. Now, compared to Sonic Lost World, I still give Sonic Lost World a 6, but I think I give it like a 6.9. Now that I go back to it, it's almost a 7 out of 10, because even though I didn't so much like the gimmicks they put in the final half, it was bad. The controls were tight. The controls were tight, and the level design was really good for the 3D sections. Yes, they got lazy near the end, but at least most of it was good. Sonic Forces is just mostly just bad level design with only 2 to 3 levels that were really good. So yeah, it's sad, but it is what it is. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Remember to smash that like button, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and hopefully Sega learns from this. I do have hope they're going to do better next time because there's no way they can go backwards. Sega knows they can't afford another Sonic 06. So, hopefully they get it right next time. But, yeah, I'm never going to be hyped for another Sonic game story ever again. They're never going to get good at the stories. But, yeah. Alright, guys, take care. And, yeah, that's all I have to say. Yeah, I'm bummed. But, alright. Until next time, swag out.